It's the amazing Rico Brogna podcast with your host, Evan Roberts.
Rico Walk-Off Brogna. Welcome to episode number 466 of Rico Brogna. The New York Mets defeat the St. Louis Cardinals, courtesy of an epic bomb off the bat of Francisco Lindor, who up until he strode to the plate in the bottom of the ninth inning of a tie game, had gone 0 for 4. He had cooled off. He had really one big kind of driver run-in opportunity in the third inning, popped up with a runner on third on less than 2 outs. And as that 1-1 pitch was being thrown by Ryan Fernandez, I'll tell you exactly what I was saying to the dude sitting next to me. A friend of mine, but I'll call him a dude sitting next to me. I said, if Fernandez gets Lindor out, they could walk Soto, walk Alonso, and take their shot at Marte and Acuna. And as those words are coming out of my mouth, that's when Francisco Lindor hit the absolute living crap out of one up into the upper deck at Citi Field, and the party began. It was a party atmosphere, another huge crowd at Citi Field on a very nice spring evening. And I love this win. This win, I know that we'd love to see the Bats just break out and whip some ass. Like, that would be ideal. Don't get me wrong. But there is something about continuing to fight and continuing to fight back and taking a punch in the mouth, responding, taking another punch in the mouth, responding, taking another punch in the mouth, and then just finally winning the damn game. So again, and I think this has kind of been the story of the Mets' first 20 games of the season, 13-7, not bad. Keep that pace up. We'll be in good shape. But it wasn't perfect. In fact, there were flaws all around, whether it was the way David Peterson's outing ended, whether it was Mendy sticking with him a little bit too long, whether it was some of Mendy's decisions, which we'll get into a little bit, whether it's the offense, again, doing absolutely nothing until it woke up in the fifth inning, whether it was Juan Soto legitimately hearing boos at Citi Field, and then the response a few innings later is, let's give him a standing ovation, to having the back end of your bullpen not be available. The Mets still won. And that's the beauty of a game like this. It was not perfect by any stretch. We'll try to get to all those things that I kind of thumbnailed in a little bit. But they won the game. And again, this was another one of those wins that feels kind of magical, feels like 2024, feels like OMG. They fought, they did not give in. The conclusion was great. I think anytime you go to a baseball game and you get to watch a walk-off, that is very cool. Anytime you get to watch a walk-off home run, that's even better. But I did think, as Lindor was at the plate, like I mentioned, boy, the Cardinals, if they want, Ali Marmol and Ryan Fernandez could just literally not face Soto and Alonso, which they did in the seventh inning before Marte flew out. But I was also thinking, could this game turn into the Soto game? Because a lot of attention has been given to Juan Soto with the fact that he isn't off to a great start. I didn't particularly hear boos on Thursday night, but Howie Rose did, because Howie said on the broadcast, they're booing Juan Soto. I didn't hear it, but whatever. That's Thursday. I heard it on Friday, specifically in the third inning when he swung at the first pitch and grounded out, and that was in a scoring opportunity with a runner on second and 2 outs. That was right after Lindor popped up, and then Soto grounded out, and there's no question I heard boos. Now, I'm not a booer. I know that there are many Met fans who say, hey, look, I spent a lot of money on tickets. He makes $755 million. I'm going to boo his ass. Of course, you have every right to boo him. I'm not a big booer. I also wouldn't boo a guy 20 games into the season. Also, I guess there's a part of me that's always afraid of the way the player is going to respond. Like Carlos Beltran did not respond well to it. Even Lindor didn't respond well to it, though that feels like a million years ago. Not everybody gives that perfect answer. But point is, he got booed. And what I thought was interesting and very organic, that's the difference between what happened in Philadelphia a few years ago with Trey Turner and what happened at Citi Field on Friday night. So Soto hears the boos in the third inning. And then when he comes up in the fifth inning, and granted it's in a big spot, and the Mets had just come back and at least pulled within 1 run after the RBI triple by Tyrone Taylor, and then Lindor hits that little kind of pop up to right field that doesn't drive him in. Soto got a standing ovation. And I almost think, and he also got one, I think, to start the third inning. I almost think the standing ovation was not this pre-planned, hey, everybody, whether it's on Twitter or sports talk radio, let's cheer him. Let's pump him up like they tried in Philadelphia. I don't think that's what it was. I think it was people in the building, because the majority don't want to boo Soto. They think it's stupid. I think it was the majority saying, here's our response. And our response is, we're going to give the guy a massive ovation. So I find it a little cooler than the pre-planned cheers that the Phillies did, and even we tried to do. Remember the whole Lindor thing last year when he was slumping? And I even said on the Rico, like, yeah, God bless you, go cheer the guy, but I'm not going to be a part of, boy, we all have to get together and give him a standing ovation. I think that most of the time when a guy comes to the plate, even when they're slumping, we cheer them. The boos come from the disappointment of the result. But what I did notice was I thought those standing ovations, which popped out in the third and fifth inning, I think that was the retort. I think that was most Met fans saying, we think booing is stupid. And when he was booed in the third inning, I heard people saying, it is ridiculous. So I do think that the vast majority of Met fans and Yankee fans, but this is a Met podcast, they don't want to boo their own players. And most fans are kind of disgusted when that actually happens. And that's at least my theory on why that turned into a standing ovation. And give Juan Soto credit, he's got to perform. And the RBI single in the fifth inning against Miles Michaelis was a nice little response. It was a big hit by Juan Soto. Remember, he had only had one hit with runners in scoring position this entire season. So I think coming in, since he grounded out in the third with a runner in scoring position, I think he was like 1 for 14, whatever that number was, kind of in that range. And he delivers the RBI single in the fifth inning. And it felt good. It felt good that Soto came through and that the Met bats erupted out of absolute nowhere. Because this game featured kind of your typical frustration of, let's give you a mini opportunity and not come through. Go back to the first inning. Pete Alonso hits a triple that just missed being his sixth home run of the season. And watching Pete Alonso run around the bases, we all have to admit, that's pretty comical. We love Pete. He is not the smoothest as he's running around the bases. So as Pete is chugging past second base, it's funny. And he got there. He got there in one piece. And that first scoring opportunity was real bad luck because Alonso gets the 2-out triple, and then Jesse Winker just hits a line drive right at Jordan Walker. There's not really much you could do about it. It was bad luck. Brett Batty draws that walk in the second inning, even steals second base. And again, Mets go into bad luck. Tyrone Taylor hits a line drive right at the shortstop. That's when they were set up with Lindor and Soto down 1-0. And Lindor popped up, and Soto swung at the first pitch and grounded out. That was the at-bat where I thought he heard boos. I think it's a combination of just not coming through in a big spot, but also swinging at the first pitch. Keep this in mind about swinging at the first pitch. I know it's frustrating when a guy swings at the first pitch and they don't come through. Brandon Nimmo's taking some heat from that. And I'll do this. I'll go through this a little bit on the series recap, Rico Brogna. But guys are massively successful when they swing at the first pitch. Like, the numbers back it up. Juan Soto, in his major league career, is over a 400 hitter when he swings at the first pitch. And that's common. Like, it's common that the stats are up when you hack at the first pitch, because usually you're getting a good pitch to hit if you're swinging at the first pitch. But it's frustrating. So nevertheless, I could sit here and lecture about, well, it's actually smart to do that. There is something frustrating about it. So that was the other scoring opportunity that the Mets missed out on. First inning, Winker lines out. Third inning, runner on second, less than 2 outs. Runner on second, nobody out. Can't get the run home. Then they put a little rally together in the fourth inning after Nimmo pokes that single. And Luis Torrens put together a great at-bat, a 10-pitch at-bat, in which unfortunately he struck out looking on a curveball. So here we are in the fifth inning of a game where the Mets are trailing 2-0. David Peterson was okay at that point. He gives up the RBI single to the catcher, Pages. He unfortunately gives up the base hit to Jordan Walker. That Alonso dove at, kind of slowed it down a little bit too much. He threw that wild pitch too. David Peterson, which helped lead to that second run being scored. But to Peterson's credit, he limited the damage. That's what I think David Peterson has done so much better at last season and even this year. Even on a day where he's not his best, he limits the damage. And so a run in the second, a run in the fourth, it's a 2-0 game in the fifth inning. I mean, this offense should be able to break out, especially against someone like Miles Mikolas. And they finally did it. And it started with Brett Batty. For all the Brett Batty hate that he has endured, and I even joined in at the end. I gave you my, all right, I'm done with this guy. Acuna's won the job. Well, Batty's wrestling it back. Let's be fair about what he's doing right now. He doesn't have the speed of Acuna. He doesn't play the defense of Acuna. But I think right now what's happening, and I've harped on this a lot, I'll do it again. Acuna should play center field. He's working out in center field. I'm sure there'll be a moment soon, I think, when Carlos Mendoza feels comfortable putting him out there. I hope it's Saturday. I hope it's Sunday. It's probably actually not going to be Saturday because there is a lefty on the mound. So I would just assume Batty sits and Acuna plays second base. But on Sunday against Sonny Gray, why the hell not? But Brett Batty is hot. He draws that walk in the second inning, third inning, steals a base, which is nice to see. Almost like a response to Acuna. Oh, yeah, you could steal bases? So can I. And he got that rally started by ripping a double, and it was behind in the count. That fifth inning started with Brett Batty. And even Tyrone Taylor, who's done nothing, rips one up the alley for a triple. Mets had 2 triples in this game. And so they were on the verge of tying the game up. That's when Lindor popped up. Soto came through. But it came out of nowhere. And it was a nice response. Now, unfortunately, and this is where I think David Peterson's outing today gets marred a little bit. We grade starts here sometimes on the Rico. I think we've almost graded every start, so I can't say we do it sometimes. We probably do it all the time. But I think David Peterson almost ruined his start, if you will, by what happened in the sixth inning. Because the offense comes back to tie the game up at 2. And now you need that shutdown inning. And he gives up the leadoff double to Wilson Contreras. And I'll manage along. I would have pulled him right then and there. His pitch count after 5 was 86 pitches. He had just put together a long kind of sequence in which he struck out Luke and Baker looking to end the fifth inning. It was a 1-2-3 inning. So very effective inning by Peterson. But his pitch count is 87. You're now about to face the heart of the batting order, even though Contreras has had a terrible year and Peterson struck him out twice. So I was on board with him starting the inning. I'm not first guessing or second guessing that. I think at 86 pitches, Peterson had earned at least a batter-to-batter situation. But when he gives up a leadoff double, I'm getting him out. I got to tell you right now, I got Max Kranick warming up. I know I need Kranick to get really pitch multiple innings because the Mets went into this game with a very short bullpen, considering Diaz had pitched on back-to-back days. Mendy's not going to push him a third. Minter had pitched back-to-back days, first time this season. He wasn't going to push him a third. And even Reed Garrett, though it was back-to-back games, but remember the previous game, I think he threw like 2 pitches. But nevertheless, it's back-to-back games. So you knew he had a short bullpen, and maybe that's why Mendy pushed Peterson a little bit more. But Nolan Arenado comes through with an RBI single, and just immediately the Met rally to tie the game. They're down a run. That's why I talk about getting punched in the face and responding. I think Peterson stayed in the game to face Donovan just simply to have that lefty matchup. But I would have had him out two batters earlier, if you ask me. And Max Kranick continues to do a really good job. Comes in, runner on first, or runner on second now at this point, with 1 out. So he's got to be almost flawless in getting through the inning. And he gets Jordan Walker out. He gets the shortstop. And the shortstop, Thomas Sajese, is how you pronounce it. And I know that for sure because I think I was sitting near the Sajese family. I don't know. They really loved him. And I asked, I said, by the way, how do you correctly pronounce this guy's name? And they said Sajese. So I don't know. May have been the Sajese family, but great job by Max Kranick getting those last 2 outs, keeping it a 1-run game, pitching a 1-2-3 7th inning. And here is the other beautiful thing about this Met victory. They now go down 3-2. Still got a lot of time, bottom of the 6th inning. I wasn't down on the dumps, still had some confidence, 12 outs to work with. And Mark Vientos, who was showing us signs for, I'd say well over a week. I had repeated over and over again here on the Rico, he feels close. He feels like he's very close to getting out of it. There were positive signs, longer at-bats, better swing decisions, some hard-hit balls. Like, I kind of was feeling this for a while now. I think it probably started even at the end of the first homestand against the Marlins when he had that game Hoff and I were at where he walked 3 times and he lined out. Like, it wasn't happening. He wasn't breaking out of it, but he didn't feel that far off. He hits the home run in the opener of this series, and then this was a clutch one because you just took that punch in the face again. You fight back to tie the game. You're down by a run, and he hits one over the fence in left field. A rising line drive of a home run by Mark Vientos, who now has 2 for the season. That was an excellent response. And the Met bullpen continued to do a mostly good job. Kranick gets a clean 7th. Ryan Stanek gets a clean 8th. And then we have the Mets breaking through. And it's Luis Torrens who does it again. Actually, before I even get to the Torrens clutch hit, you have Vientos coming through behind in the count, might I add, with a leadoff hit in the 8th inning. Very underratedly important part of this game. Behind in the count, sneaks one up the middle for a base hit. Mendy goes to Acuna, perfect, of course. No problem with that. Who then steals second base. I mean, that's the part of the beauty of Luis Angel Acuna. And I hate to say this because I know I want to see him start in center field, like I said, and most people want to see him start. But one of the weapons that Acuna brings to you is that coming off the bench and being inserted as a pinch runner whenever you want and being able to steal a base. That doesn't mean I don't want him starting, but when he doesn't start, he's a very valuable weapon. He is the most valuable weapon they could have coming off the bench because of that attribute. Starling Marte was off the bench, and Mendy made a decision. I'll go back a little bit to the 7th inning when Soto and Alonso were walked back-to-back with 2 outs and nobody on, which I get. You're careful with Soto, makes sense. You're careful with Alonso, I get. And now you've got either Winker or Marte coming up. And Mendy had to make a choice. He could have kept Winker in to face the left-hander. That was Jojo Romero who had come in. And Winker had faced a lefty 2 innings earlier and actually made really good contact, lined out to second base. So he had a good at-bat against John King, the lefty who came in earlier. So Mendy had this choice. Winker versus a lefty again, or Marte versus clearly a righty that was going to come in, the former Met, Phil Maton. I think I would have stuck with Winker, and I think I would have stuck with Winker for 2 reasons. Number one, Marte just hasn't hit. Winker just had a good at-bat against the lefty, and also, and this is a compliment to Marte, I want to keep him available off the bench just in case. The Mets go into a game like this with really only 3 guys on their bench. You've got the backup catcher in Hayden Senger, but you're only really using him if Torrens has to be pinch hit for. And then you've got Acuna, who you're going to use in a speed spot, which they did, and you got Marte. I don't know if I would have cashed in that bullet in the 7th inning with Marte, but he does. You get the Maton matchup, and Marte continues to struggle, pops up to center field. But let's get back to the 8th inning of this tie game. Vientos gets the hit, Acuna steals second, and then you get a fascinating play. First, let me rip Brandon Nimmo. I know Nimmo did have a hit in this game. This will make Pete feel good. If you're Brandon Nimmo with a runner on second and nobody out, tie game 8th inning, hit the ball to the freaking right side. I see you hit so many ground balls to second base, so many ground balls to first base. Here's a spot where if you do that, no one's mad at you. You do that, we say you did the job. And what does he do? He hits a ground ball to freaking modern-day Brooks Robinson, Nolan Arenado. And I like what Acuna did. It didn't work, but I like it. He's darting off of second, but he's in this area where Arenado can't really run at him. So Acuna waits and then takes off. And Arenado, who again, he's a Gold Glove third baseman, charges right at Acuna. Acuna does a great job getting around Arenado, overslides third base, and then you get that race of Acuna and Arenado trying to get back to third. So that was as long of a review as humanly possible because he was called out. The Mets challenge it, which at that point in the game, you challenge that no matter what. It's the 8th inning. I think you're in a spot, especially since you can ask for a crew chief review anyway, which we saw a few games ago on that caught stealing in Minnesota, or non-caught stealing that turned into a caught stealing in the finale against the Twins with Bader. You're going to throw that challenge flag. I know we don't have challenge flags, but you get it. You're going to challenge no matter what. But that was as difficult to review as you'll ever see. You can't really tell if he got back or not. It looked like a tie, if I'm being honest. And even though tie goes to the runner, which would mean he's safe, to overturn it, I think you needed to be a little bit more conclusive. And that's why as we're sitting there waiting, I did not exactly have the confidence that they were going to overturn it. I didn't think there was enough evidence for them to overturn it, and they didn't. So it sucked. I wasn't mad at Acuna. I'm not sure what they were saying on the broadcast. I did hear Gary Cohen was out. Hopefully everything's okay. But I like the aggressiveness from Acuna. It just didn't work. I did think Nimmo's now on first. Can you go steal second base? We haven't seen Brandon run a lot this season, but he didn't need to because Phil Maton throws over to first base and he puts it off the wall in right field, basically. And so the Mets are given that gift. And then here's Luis Torrens. Torrens has been as good as you could have expected. You know, his overall numbers don't jump out at you, but he's gotten clutch hits. He's had quality at-bats. Remember, he struck out in the 10th inning with guys on base. What an at-bat that was. That was a 10-pitch masterpiece. And here he's behind in the count 0-2, runner on second, 1 out, tie game, and then he rips one over the bag that Arenado can't get to. Luis Torrens has been outstanding. My buddy was even saying to me, man, don't rush Frankie back at this point. Don't rush Alvarez back. We have Torrens. I'm not saying we should rush him, obviously. You want to make sure Alvarez is ready. I'm excited for Alvarez to come back because I think what Luis Torrens is, and this is a compliment, he's Todd Pratt. Todd Pratt was they're different, so I don't want you to think I'm comparing them as players. Pratt was more of an offensive catcher, but Todd Pratt was a really good backup. And when Mike Piazza was out, Todd Pratt was wonderful. He's even a part of Met history with the home run he hit in 99 against Matt Manti. But he's a backup. Like, Piazza's out for a while. Eventually, Todd Pratt's going to remind you that he's a backup. He's a damn good backup, but he's a backup. And that's what Luis Torrens is. It's not to knock what he's been doing. He's been great. He's been awesome. It's also 20 games. I think if Luis Torrens had to catch another 30 games because Alvarez was out, you'd see he's a backup catcher. So I'm not putting him down. I'm just being real that I'd love for Alvarez to come back, and Torrens should still be in the mix catching. He's so good defensively, which we know. He's gotten clutch hits, so he's not a nothing at the plate. But I don't necessarily agree of, we don't need Alvarez. No, I don't buy that. Ideally, you want to have as much talent as you possibly can. So I'm excited for Alvarez to come back. But yeah, when he does come back, do you want to shove him out there and play every single day? No, I think they should take their time anyway. But I think Luis Torrens is a wonderful backup catcher, and that was an incredibly clutch hit, especially being behind in the count 0-2. It just sucks that Batty or Taylor, who both had good games here, couldn't pick him up. And so the Mets ended up 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. You get to the 9th inning, and I'll tell you, sometimes conversations lead to other conversations. So Huascar Brazoban comes in to close it out, which, I mean, where else are you going? AJ Minter is not available. Edwin Diaz is not available. Reed Garrett's not available. So what are we talking about? Danny Young? Jose Buto? You don't have a lot of options. So Brazoban's clearly the guy to go to in the 9th inning. And as Brazoban is warming up, my buddy says to me, boy, I got to tell you, I hope Edwin Diaz opts out. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, you could spend that money elsewhere. And what I say to him is the same thing I'm going to tell you right now. And hopefully Huascar Brazoban reminded you of this. Edwin Diaz is not perfect. Edwin Diaz drives us nuts. Edwin Diaz is aging us as humans. And I'm sure Edwin Diaz will have plenty of blown saves where we're going to scream and yell and use cuss words. How many closers are better, though? Closing out games is not easy. And here's Huascar Brazoban, and it literally took him 2 pitches to blow a save. 2 pitches. And this was 5 minutes after my guys telling me, I hope Edwin Diaz opts out. Why? You got to replace him. Huáscar Brazoban has been wonderful, but closing out a game is a different animal. Now, I give Brazzi, I'm going to call him Brazzi now, a lot of credit, because after he gives up the home run, now your job is to keep this game tied. You still have a major advantage in winning this game as long as you keep it tied, and he struck out the next three guys. So I thought Brazoban, to his credit, not that it was amazing because he did blow the save, but he kept it tied. And with the top of the order coming up, you gave the Mets a great chance to win this baseball game. And then you get to the conclusion. Like we all saw, Francisco Lindor absolutely crush one, his second home run of the season. And like I said, it wasn't easy. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't comfortable. But 13-7 is 13-7. And now the Mets are a win away from at least winning this 4-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Pete Hoffman, how do you feel on this Lindor walks off the St. Louis Cardinals edition of Rico Brogna?
So I was watching this game delayed, and I was watching with my 7-year-old, and he was very excited when Brazoban gave up the home run.
Why?
But not because the whole game, when it was tied 3-3, said, I just want to see the Mets walk it off. That's all he wanted to do. He's like, I want to see the Mets walk it off and celebrate. So when Brazoban gave up that home run to tie it, he said yes. And once the inning ended, he goes, Dad, they could walk it off. So when Lindor hit that bomb of a shot, he jumped up. I jumped up. My wife started screaming, what are you guys screaming about? But it was a very good game. There's so many good pieces to this team. It really just shows how exciting this group of guys can be the rest of the year. From Acuna being a spark plug on the base path, to if Batty can actually start hitting, if Vientos has now actually found his home run stroke and that builds his confidence to make more contact, you're talking about we don't need guys like Marte or Nimmo to really come through. It'd be nice for them to come through, but we won't need them because you have all these other younger players, the youth movement, finally actually making an impact.
They weren't going to hit 140 the entire season. You know, like Mark Vientos, what is this? I know it's not a sophomore year for Vientos, so saying it's a sophomore slump is like, I get it. It's not really a sophomore year, but what is Mark Vientos going to do in his second full season in the major leagues? We'll see. But I think we all knew he wasn't going to hit 150. So I think him starting to heat up, even Tyrone Taylor, like I get it. Tyrone Taylor is ideally not an everyday center fielder. He wasn't going to hit 145 for the season. So we're starting to see at least guys in the bottom of the order who have not produced at all this season slowly starting to heat up. But Brett Batty, you mentioned him. Batty's hitting. And he'll probably sit on Saturday because they're facing a lefty. So we'll see Acuna at second. But what we are noticing until McNeil comes back is that Batty and Acuna should both be in the lineup along with Vientos. You also have DH as an option. That's another weapon because you mentioned Marte isn't hitting right now. And Winker, you know, he didn't have a great day today, but he made good contact. He was 0 for 3 at 2 lineouts. I'm just trying to be fair that it's not like he was overmatched. But Jesse Winker has not produced. He hasn't hit a home run yet. He's hitting under 200. You can use the DH spot. You could DH Vientos. You could DH Batty. You're not going to DH Acuna, obviously. So there are ways to make sure that the guys who are hitting get into the lineup, even before we talk, even though we've said it a lot, of Acuna playing center field, which I do feel we're very close to seeing. Because Mendy has said, I've told him to be ready. We're seeing him work out in the outfield. And Tyrone Taylor's not going to play every single day. He's going to sit. I'm not sure what day it'll be. Maybe it's Sunday against a tough customer like Sonny Gray. We'll see.
Yeah, and if Nimmo doesn't start producing as much, they may be more inclined to sit him days.
Well,
like
they haven't
to give him a
sat
day.
him. Like I thought in spring training, I remember saying it here on the Rico, they're going to sit him. He's not 100%. He was recovering from injury during spring training. Like, give him a day off here. And they have not really done that at all. Now, as they get healthier, with McNeil potentially coming back, maybe that gives them the opportunity. Let me read a couple of your emails from this wonderful walk-off victory. Ignacio writes, wow, I mean, what a ball game. Lindor goes 0 for 4, and then when it matters the most, he hits a walk-off. At the end of the day, what matters is winning. I don't care how they win, just win. Plus, winning like that is always fun. I mean, you couldn't write it any better. Soto needs to start hitting with runners on, and Vientos might be coming out of his slump, which can be scary for opposing pitchers. That Vientos home run kind of reminded me of the home run he hit in Game 2 of the division series in Philly. High fastball and sort of a weird-looking swing, but he got to hit it, and it left the ballpark, so good for him. Pitching's been good lately. Peterson deserves a high grade, a solid A. I can't give him an A. You're being too nice, Ignacio. I'll give him like a B. I know 5 1/3, 3 runs doesn't feel good. He did strike out 9 guys in this game and ran out of gas at the end. I would definitely give him a higher grade than what 5 1/3, 3 runs looks like, but I'm not giving him an A. So I can't do that. He didn't walk anyone, which for me is great, and that's why I give him an A. No, that's not it. You don't give away a hit or two. It's baseball. What can you do? But when you start walking the whole ballpark, that's an issue. So Peterson had a good game. Pete needs to keep raking, driving in those runs, and let's see if they can take this series tomorrow. I'll be listening to the Rico. Thank you very much. David Valley was very concerned because David writes right after the Lindor walk-off, where is Juan Soto? I don't see him. Well, he was there. He was celebrating, and David wrote again to say, yes, I did see him. All good. All good. Now, Keith Overfield of Raleigh, North Carolina, actually wrote the same thing about Soto, which is now making me wonder. Keith writes, I'm still living the Lindor walk-off home run Friday night, but I'm 90% sure Soto was not one of the Mets meeting him at home plate and celebrating. I could be wrong, but if I'm not, is that a sign that he's not a team player, only about himself and still reeling from the first inning boos from the home crowd? I'd love if you do some investigative reporting and see if I'm spreading false information. All right. I'm doing it right now live on the Rico. I'm going to watch the walk-off home run, and I'm going to analyze where Juan Soto is. Boy, we are just – this has been going on since the start of the year where, Soto's not celebrating. Soto doesn't look happy. Is he regretting it?
I have a picture in front of me right now with, people throwing stuff, and right behind Lindor is Jesse Winker, Tyrone Taylor, Pete Alonso, Huáscar Brazaban, Starling Marte, Luis Torrens. In this picture specifically, I see the cameraman. In this picture specifically, I do not see.
All right. I have a still shot of Lindor approaching home plate. I see Marte. I see Torrens. You're right. I don't see him anywhere. Oh, Jesus.
That selfish bastard.
Well, where is he? I mean, he was on deck. Like, he didn't disappear. Did he disappear? Did he walk away?
I got to be honest with you. It's weird because I've seen it a couple times already where he's on deck, but he's actually in the dugout. Like, whether he's doing last-minute scouting reports or whatever it is, I feel like he's not ready to just, go out there and take a couple swings, on deck. I feel like he's like doing more research. Is that possible?
Well, I tell you, I'm analyzing and I do not see him. So,
wow. Maybe he was taking a piss.
I mean, what does that mean, though? Like, where did he go? That's what I'd love to know. He just left? He said, all right, we won the game. I'm going home.
I mean,
the story was David Peterson was in the bathroom. I did hear that, and that was pretty funny. That David Peterson heard Howie Rose's call and then ran out, but he was actually in the bathroom as it was happening. Yeah, I listen, I'll confirm it. I don't see him. Now, what does that mean? I'm not going to jump to any conclusion. I wish that, so when Lindor hits the home run, I'm focused on where the ball's landing. I'm seeing everybody. Like, I'm out looking for him. You know what I mean? So I wish I could go back in time and see where he walked as the on-deck hitter. But no, I will at least confirm what Keith said. And even David, who then rescinded it. So I don't know where he ended up seeing him. Because David wrote back, I see Soto now, disregard. I'll let it play and see if maybe I see him after. But yeah, during that little home run celebration, he wasn't there. But you know what's funny about something like that? Who else wasn't there? You know what I mean? Like, we're looking for Juan Soto, and he's not there. All right, now I see Brett Batty and Tyrone Taylor, were the two that dropped the Gatorade bottle all over Lindor's head. So those two did that. I've confirmed that. And Lindor's hair is just beautiful, man. He's I like that new look. I mean, he's got a lot of hair. That's for damn sure. But yeah, no, I didn't see him. I'm not going to start an issue here. I'm just going to tell you that I just analyzed it. I watched it. I don't see him anywhere. And I'm laughing only because where the hell could he be? What, Lindor hits the home run. He's like, all right, I got to go crap. I'll see you guys later.
Well, hey, where's Luis Angel? I don't see him.
No, I saw him.
Oh, sorry.
You want to look for someone else that we didn't see?
Yeah.
Hayden Sanger. Where was that selfish bastard?
Seriously, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what this does remind me of, though? Not remind me, but what this is going to teach me is that now, because we are 20 games into the Soto era with the New York Mets, I think I'm going to now stare and analyze every time he does something. Like, I think that's going to be the new thing. So if they walk off on Sunday, I'm not sure if I'm going Sunday. I'm going to try to, but I'm definitely going Monday, even though that's going to be a pain in the ass because the Knicks have a playoff game. But I promised my son I would take him. He's off from school. I am now going to, analyze. I think all of us are. We're all going to keep an eye on Juan Soto and see what he's doing and find out if he's some kind of, selfish ball player who's just leaving. See, that's the thing that's so weird. Like, where did he go? He's on deck. Like, if Lindor hits the home run and he's standing right there. Now, Hoff, you said sometimes he's in the dugout. All right, he's just sitting there. Like, I didn't see Mendy either because I don't think the managers, for the most part, are a part of those celebrations. So maybe Juan was talking to Mendy. I don't know. So there you go. We have ourselves a brand new Juan Soto controversy. Isn't that fantastic? Either way, very nice victory. They got to keep this crap going against St. Louis. I'd love to take tomorrow and kind of take the pressure off of Sunday facing a tough customer like Sonny Gray. Kodai Senga's on the mound in Saturday's game. Kodai, of course, coming off his 7 brilliant innings. And then we'll see Clay Holmes to wrap up the series. 2 games up on the Phillies. And remember, 3 games against the Phillies Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Also, good job by the Mets with Minecraft night. My sons love Minecraft. They're still away, so they were unable to go to this game, but they have this weird thing, the Mets, where if you buy a special ticket, you can get a special giveaway. So like tonight's giveaway for everybody was a Brandon Nimmo hoodie jersey or whatever it was. I didn't get there in time to get one because I showed up at 7:07 coming from work. But then they have this other thing where if you buy a special ticket, you get a special giveaway. So the special giveaway on Minecraft movie night was this Mets Minecraft hat, which I knew I had to get my kids. So I'm like, well, how do I get it? I have season tickets. I don't have a special ticket. So how am I, what do I got to buy another ticket? So what they do is, and I guess this is helpful information for anybody else that wants the giveaway of the special ticket without buying the special ticket, they give you a discount and then you could just buy the product. So this Minecraft Mets hat was $20 a pop. And so I bought it, and then I had to go to a stand down the left field line, which I did, I think, in the 3rd inning, and I pick up the hats. So my sons are going to be happy. But this is good information for the future because the Mets do this a lot with these special ticket promotions. In fact, you may have heard that they're giving away Soto DR-inspired Met jersey and a Lindor Puerto Rico-inspired Met jersey. But those are 2 special tickets. So if you're interested, I guess, if you don't want to buy the special ticket, that's how you do it. So that's the first time I've ever done this, but my boys will be happy. And they did a very good job because they put like Minecraft looking creatures for each Met player and each Cardinal. And I get it now because I saw the movie. I took my kids to see the Minecraft movie. So now I finally get it. Either way, hell of a victory. You can email us with your thoughts. We could play the Where's Juan Soto game. The RicoB@gmail.com, RicoB@gmail.com. We will have a series recap of the Rico Brogna. That is coming up on Sunday. Yeah, that looks good, man.
I think I need to pop this for tonight, but I got to be on the air in like 2 hours. Otherwise, I'd pop it right now.
Don't pop it, but everybody listening can. You can knock one out of the ballpark and raise an apple with Takara Chuhai. It's a sparkling cocktail that blends real shochu spirits with the delicious flavors and fruits locally grown in Japan. It is available at Citi Field in Fuji Apple, of course. And you've also got white peach and lemon. So if you're going to the ballpark on Saturday, which is going to be ridiculously nice, like 80 degrees, it's a freaking summer day, though they are competing with WrestleMania and a Knicks playoff game. So I will not be in the building for those reasons. But I've been the last 2 nights. Cut me some slack. But enjoy a drink. And remember, drink responsibly. But we'll be back. We'll have a Rico Brogna after the series concludes at some point on Sunday. Hopefully before WrestleMania, or maybe after WrestleMania. But we'll mix in some WrestleMania talk. I used to do a podcast. I did the Evan Roberts podcast, which was sort of like a little Rico Brogna because I would do a lot of Mets. But I would also do wrestling. After like every wrestling big event, I would do a podcast. And I do kind of miss that. It was fun. I love wrestling. And my kids love wrestling. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll mix some in on the next Rico Brogna. But stay tuned for that. Of course, download it wherever you download your podcast. And listen, you can buy the Rico Brogna t-shirt. I didn't even realize it, but it is still on sale. And is the website in our link or something like that, Pete?
Yeah, it's actually in the link, in the YouTube link, in the podcast link, wherever you guys go check out like our wherever you go listen, there's gonna be a link there to buy it. So it's very simple, very easy. You get it like within a couple weeks, I believe, and everyone it looks pretty good.
It does.
Pretty good.
I saw someone else wearing it today too. I feel very shy when I see that. It was the blue Rico Brogna shirt. So
did you have to sign another chest?
I did not sign another chest today. No, no chest signings today. That's for sure. Either way, we appreciate you listening, hanging out, and downloading Rico Brogna. We will talk to you soon. LGM, baby.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Rico Brogna podcast. It's amazing, isn't it? Make sure you download it now to keep it on you at all times.